Ah, the 90s, the decade that tasted like Fruitopia and smelled like Surge. But above all, it sounded like this. Remember that sound? That, my friends, was the symphony of the internet age dawning. Each hiss, pop, and screech was a digital handshake, connecting us to a world beyond imagination. Back then, the internet wasn't just something you used, it was an event. We huddled around clunky monitors, bathed in the eerie glow of CRT screens. Patience was a virtue, my friends, as we waited for images to load pixel by pixel. But oh, the anticipation. It was like waiting for the kettle to boil, knowing a cuppa and a digital adventure awaited. The internet wasn't always pretty back then. Websites looked like they were designed by toddlers with crayons, and don't even get me started on the font choices. Comic Sans, anyone? But what it lacked in aesthetic finesse, it made up for in sheer, unadulterated potential. We were pioneers venturing into uncharted digital territory. Every click was a step into the unknown. Every downloaded file, a small victory. We were witnessing the birth of a new era, and we were hooked. Dial-up internet was slow, painfully slow. Speeds that would make a snail say, "Oi mate, pick up the pace." Downloading a song took longer than listening to it on the radio. Streaming videos, pure science fiction. A 5-minute YouTube clip took the better part of a week. And if someone picked up the phone, game over. You'd hear the dreaded screech of disconnection. But those limitations fueled our creativity. We adapted, improvised, and shared tips like precious gems, united by our love-hate relationship with the dial-up modem. The slow speeds added to the mystique. We savored the experience, appreciating the wonder of it all. Now, behind this digital revolution was a chap named Tim Berners-Lee. You might call him the Shakespeare of the World Wide Web. He saw the potential for a global information network, a place where knowledge could be shared freely. And in 1989, he gave us the gift of the World Wide Web. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just a series of interconnected networks. It was a vast and interconnected world of information, all linked together by hyperlinks. Think of it as a giant digital library, except instead of dusty bookshelves, you had blinking cursors and flashing GIFs. Early web browsers like Mosaic and Netscape became our guides in this new frontier. They were clunky and basic by today's standards, but they were our windows to the world. I remember the first time I used Netscape Navigator. It was like stepping through a portal into another dimension. The web was a wild west back then, full of flashing banners, cheesy MIDI music, and websites that looked like they were designed by a committee of colorblind pigeons. But it was our Wild West, and we loved it. One of the biggest game changers of the 90s internet was the rise of electronic mail, or as we cool kids called it, email. Suddenly, we could communicate with people across the globe in an instant. It was revolutionary. No more waiting days, weeks, or even months for a letter to arrive. And then came chat rooms. Oh, the chat rooms. These digital dens of instant conversation were all the rage. We'd spend hours, or at least as many minutes as our dial-up connection would allow, chatting with strangers about everything and nothing. It was like having a massive global dinner party, except without the awkward silences and the constant threat of running out of vol-au-vents. AOL, Instant Messenger, AIM, and ICQ became our virtual playgrounds. Remember those iconic doorbell sounds and the thrill of seeing that little green flower icon light up, indicating your mate was online? It was the digital equivalent of finding a fiver in your old jeans. These early forms of online communication were the precursors to the social media platforms we know and sometimes love today. They connected us in ways we never thought possible, breaking down geographical barriers and fostering a sense of global community. Section 5. Searching for the needle. Now, with this explosion of information came a new challenge: how to find what you were looking for in this digital haystack. Enter the search engine. Early pioneers like Yahoo and AltaVista emerged, attempting to catalogue the ever-expanding digital wilderness. Yahoo, with its directory-style listing, was like the friendly librarian of the internet, guiding us through the stacks. AltaVista, on the other hand, was more like a digital bloodhound, sniffing out any mention of your search terms, regardless of relevance. But then came Google, And let's be honest, they changed the game. Their innovative algorithm, which ranked websites based on relevance, was a stroke of genius. Suddenly, finding what you were looking for on the internet was as easy as pie. Well, maybe not that easy, but it was a darn sight easier than before. The rise of search engines was a pivotal moment in the evolution of the internet. It democratized information, making it accessible to anyone with a modem and a dream. Section 6. The dot-com, the new gold rush. The mid to late 90s saw the internet gripped by a fever with a name, the dot-com boom. Everyone, from your nan's knitting club to your dog walker, seemed to be starting an online business. Venture capitalists threw money at anything with a dot-com at the end of it, like it was going out of fashion. Valuations soared to dizzying heights, fueled by speculation and the promise of untold riches. It was a time of unbridled optimism and reckless abandon, a digital gold rush for the 21st century. Companies couldn't build websites fast enough. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie, and the internet became the new frontier for entrepreneurs and dreamers. The possibilities seemed endless. It was a time of unprecedented growth and innovation, as the lines between the digital world and the real world began to blur. Of course, like all bubbles, the dot-com boom eventually burst. Many companies built on hype and flimsy business plans went bust. The Nasdaq, which had become synonymous with the tech sector, crashed back down to earth. Section 7 Napster freeing the music. Amidst the dot-com frenzy, a new revolution was brewing, a revolution that would shake the music industry to its core. That revolution, my friends, was called Napster. Launched in 1999, Napster allowed users to share MP3 music files directly over the internet. It was a digital free-for-all, a musical utopia. Suddenly anyone with an internet connection had access to a vast library of music, all for free. The music industry, understandably, wasn't thrilled. They saw Napster as a threat, a digital pirate ship plundering their profits. Napster, despite its eventual demise, had opened Pandora's box. It had shown the world the power of the internet for sharing music. Section 8. The boom's echo. The 90s internet boom may have come and gone, but its impact on our world is undeniable. It laid the foundation for the digital landscape we inhabit today. It transformed the way we communicate, consume information, shop, and entertain ourselves. From the humble dial-up modem to the rise of search engines and the birth of file sharing, the 90s was a decade of unprecedented technological advancement. It was a time of experimentation, innovation, and boundless optimism. The lessons learned during those heady days continue to shape the internet today. The dot-com bubble taught us the importance of sustainable business models. The Napster saga highlighted the challenges of copyright protection in the digital age. Section 9. From kilobytes to yottabytes. As we stand here today, in a world of smartphones, social media, and streaming services, it's easy to forget those early days of the internet, but it's important to remember where we came from to appreciate how far we've come. From kilobytes to yottabytes, from dial-up to fiber optic, the internet has come a long way. But one thing remains constant: our insatiable desire to connect, to share, and to explore the vast digital frontier. The 90s internet boom may be over, but the journey continues.